Why leave Broome County?
I've had a very deliberate and planned career, and I'm ready for a large, complex college like Monroe. And I'm very interested. I've always admired Monroe. I've been in SUNY colleges for 16 years now, and Monroe is sort of a leader in so many things, and I'd love to be part of that.
What do you know about Monroe Community College? What made you interested?
Well, as I said, I mean, Monroe has been a leader. Often in SUNY, it's you look at the way Monroe does it as a model of how you're going to do something at your institution. So I've known about Monroe for many years. I was in SUNY in the 80s, and I was there for 12 years, and now I've been 4 years once again in the SUNY system. And again, the college just stands out as a leader, as an innovator, always on the leading edge of innovation, and I would love to be part of an institution like that.
And how much bigger is Monroe? I think Monroe's around 15,000, 16,000 per semester than Broome.
Right, it's about 3 times bigger than Broome. We're 6,500. Have a large continuing ed, business and industry population too, but so does Monroe. So it's about 3 times the size, 3 times the budget. Multiple campus, whereas Broome is a single campus.
You're probably aware of the controversy surrounding this search. Do you have any thoughts at all about that?
Well, it's a board prerogative, and I think we just have to let the board run the search as they wish, and let it work itself out.
Any thoughts on candidates that don't have an education background?
Again, I think that's the board's prerogative as far as they can choose to interview who they wish and choose who they wish. That really is their prerogative. I, of course, think my background is absolutely perfect for this job.
Do you see that a lot, though, when applying for jobs, that people are considered, for presidents of college that don't have?
I guess it depends. Colleges are a unique animal. There's a culture. There's the academy is something that's unusual. It's not a business as such. It's the business of education, and there's a lot of uniqueness to it. But that doesn't, I've seen, presidencies filled by a variety of backgrounds: military, business, and education. So.
What would you probably given some thought as to what exists here today, what transpired under Dr. Spina, Tom Flynn? What would you do differently? Do you have any thoughts at all about how you would improve this college?
Well, I think I kind of subscribe to the philosophy of good to great, or can you take organizations, institutions from good to great, or can being good be the enemy of great? I think this is a great institution. It absolutely is, and which is one of the things that really makes me so interested in it. It's an institution that is already great. How do you take it to the next level? And that's really what I want to do, to take what's happened here, the innovation, the energy that I'm seeing from the faculty and staff, and how can we go and continue to be that role model and even be a bigger model, a more significant college nationally.
We hear that a lot, taking it to the next level, but quantify that. What does that mean in your mind?
Well, I wrote an article recently about the significant community college, and really that was a kind of a good to great kind of thesis in that article. And really what we were talking about is, how do you take a college that is successful in every way, such as Monroe, and make it significant? And that's kind of the model. Now, as far as, for example, it's not about how many minorities you admit, it's how many graduate. It's taking measures that are significant to the community in a variety of ways and looking at those as your measures. And there's a number of those that I guess the final one was not only making serving students, but actually amazing them. And I think the opportunity to take that transition, that transformation, is here at this college, and with the right leadership, all that could occur.
Doctor, what should people make of the fact that you've been in the running for a president's job at a few different colleges? You talked about how you thought you would be a really good fit here, and I presume that your answer to a question about one of the other colleges about why you should go there might have been similar to that. So Why should people think that you might look differently about MCC than another job, or do you?
Well, as I told you, I have a very deliberate career path, and I'm ready for the next level of institution. And you know, certainly Monroe, because of my long time in SUNY, is something that is absolutely appealing to me. I know this institution better than, you know, those from other states, let's say. But there's reasons. I have applied for a few positions. There's absolute reasons for each one of them. Monroe, the reasons that have come primary to me is my familiarity with SUNY. I do love the state of New York. I like the SUNY system. I've lived here for a long time, and I'd like to stay here. So, you know, it has particular appeal. I'm more familiar with Monroe than other colleges that I have applied for, even though some of them, as I'm sure you know, there's connections to my time in Florida, my time in Colorado. So it's not just a shotgun by any means. I'm looking very focused for institutions that would allow me to do that transformation from successful to significant colleges.
Can you tell me excuse me, can you tell me whether or not you instigated your application here, or whether Dr. Ponitz, or I think it's Dr. Ponitz, approached you and asked you or suggested that you apply?
I know Dave Ponitz, and actually I called him. I understand Monroe is going to start a search and you're going to be the consultant. He says, yes, I encourage you to apply. And you know, subsequently, you know, when I hadn't sent in an application, he said, are you going to send one in? And eventually I did. So that was really my initiation with Dr. Ponitz.
And did you have any idea that whether or not Dr. Galladay would be involved in this search as a liaison to the Chancellor when you used him as a reference?
Well, Dr. Galladay is a reference of mine because of our long time, you know, work together as presidents of colleges. He is a standard reference I use. I included him on this application. It's up to, you know, to Dr. Galladay to recuse himself if, you know, there's a conflict. And, you know, that was, I'm sure that will be the case.
From what you know of this college, is there anything that's lacking, anything that sticks out at you as, yeah, this is something I could really do something for?
As I've said, and you know, it is an absolutely excellent institution. But you know, you can't just let an institution. It needs leadership. It needs guidance, and that's something I want to provide to make sure that things don't get overlooked, things don't get, you know, lost in the mix. And that's what, you know, somebody like me could do for this institution. I really have that very in-depth understanding of higher education. I have a breadth and depth of experience in a number of institutions, a number of states, and you know, so for me to, it would be, you know, I really couldn't tell you that there's anything wrong with this institution. That's why I like to be here. But the point is to keep it running that way is what appeals to me.
And do you see, if you were to be successful, do you see yourself, quote unquote, growing the college, getting it bigger? Would that be a goal of yours?
Not necessarily. It's about getting it better.
In terms of taking it to the next level, the great institution that it is it possible to identify a single thing that may be a top priority? What would you be looking at as obviously here's something we can really do?
Well, that's something in higher ed, and I think it's very important that transition or transformation of institution is something that takes inclusion and empowerment of the faculty and staff. You must work with the faculty and staff of an institution to make those decisions. You have a strategic plan here that I think runs till 2011. So one of my first priorities would be to work with the college community to adopt joint goals for the future. You have a plan that's expiring in a few years. So my first goal would be to work with the faculty and staff here to do a strategic planning process and start to look out at the future for where together we'd want to take this institution.